game changing.
And one thing to note that we have been told by our wonderful production is that Renata has been played once, and it was a loss by Reiner into a Nautilus is the most important part for me right there. So we'll have to see if Secret can pilot this lane phase a bit better off. And the main point for me is always the level 1. When you have Enchanter supports, and I'm going to put Renata in that basket, she has got the shielding with that E. So when you have these range supports, these Enchanters, you need to be careful in the first 2 levels. If you are not, somebody like Nautilus can cheese you in a bush. They've actually got the Glacial Augment this time, so it's very, very difficult for this Renata to run away. No mobility in the kit at all. If they are caught out, they should die. And with the Flame Chompers from Hybrid, level 1 kind of 2 territory, there is a really, like, not real, but there is a very significant chance that we see Rascal Jester's bot lane get blown open, and then this game starts to fall apart. We need to find out what's going to happen as we kick off.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a perfect time to talk about win cons as well. Obviously, we do see the lead scene in the top side. Volibear going to start on the top side as well, so Jungle is going to be pathing it down. But win conditions, obviously, an important part of League of Legends, unless you are maybe in bronze, in which case there is no such thing. But it's a sentiment where I do feel like CGA kind of historically in this season have played off of early wins and basically just snowballing out their lead. And I do think that the same is kind of true with their comp this game. We can see Blitzcrank saying that they would win in the later stages, but just based on the team fighting prowess of Rascal Jesters, I feel like that's not necessarily a feasible option.
Not consistent option, I think, is the caveat I'm going to put on that one, because you do have a Jinx and you have a Syndra, which as you scale later on, do a lot of work. And against a Volibear and a Gnar in particular, they do not have as much prevalence in the late game. While Aatrox also falls off, considering you've got really good setup tools by the rest of your squatters. This is one hell of a ward by Soul, actually. Getting that push down on the bottom wave with perfect CS, they are going to be able to get that ward onto the Krugs. They know for a fact when Kassin starts that, and it gives Hachimecha bit of extra knowledge. They aren't going to do anything with it for the moment, not wanting to show themselves mid lane just yet, starting without a leash themselves. While they do have a ward for CJ on the enemy Raptors, I still don't think they completely know where the bear is hiding.
Yeah, and obviously the bear keeping himself in the woods, it's always a good time. You know, you don't want to be showing it too early. I imagine that there's also a bit of an angle for Rascal Jesters to maybe play around mid lane. Obviously, we talked so much about how important this bot lane is, but I also think if Recap can get unlocked and they can start roaming with that Ahri, it can really cause chaos around the map. And it's something I would kind of like to see from Rascal Jesters.
Absolutely. I think post 6, we should be expecting Recap to be making their way down bot lane. One of the things that has brought Volibear back into the meta recently is their ability to turn off towers. Yes, it's still very broken. It was never changed. And the fact that they can facilitate dives with people like the Ahri, insanity. It's completely unplayable for people like the Nautilus, who don't have any tools to protect themselves. It's all about aggression. As now, speaking of aggression, Hachimecha has made their way back to mid.
Oh, this could be a bit of a rough time for Kaito. Going to get the stun onto the Ahri. That's quite a bit of damage onto Recap already, but there's the stun coming through. The charm link up, and it's all too easy for Rascal Jesters. Hachimecha picking up the first blood in the mid lane.
Perfectly timed, and they're going to be able to push out this mid wave. Kassin, they're going to fish for a Q right here. They do have enough damage to kill Recap, but I fear that it would be a trade of their own life as they recognize that themselves. Going to back off and just take the Scuttle Crab. Nicely played by Hachimecha. One of the things that this Volibear does so well is that point and click CC. It was a great path to come in, and Kaito, I think they committed to going for the kill, and then when they didn't have enough damage to finish them off, they decided to save their own flash. It's very dangerous to burn flash against a Volibear, because if you don't survive, then they can repeat gank, especially with a facilitator like Ahri. You could have just seen that happening again post 6, so they will at least have something to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, and obviously Syndra being pretty immobile herself. The fact that the Scout of the Week was used obviously gave Volibear just a complete in. As on this bot lane, we are seeing that poke come out from the Caitlyn and Secret. Renata putting in a lot of work, and Nemo hasn't really been able to find any hooks just of yet.
And I'm going to say this is good, but it's also a necessity, right? You don't pick Caitlyn and then have her as weak side. You need to bring attention to this bot lane, and you need to make sure that they are hitting tower plates, getting that priority for dragons, and using that. Because if you're not, the champion does start to fall off. With Gale Force and Collector, Caitlyn has managed to find herself a way to survive in the mid game and not have that notorious slump that the champion has always suffered from. But when you're against the Jinx, anytime you are losing in tempo, you are potentially asking for a comeback. So that is something that we need to keep our eye on and see if Rascal Jester can keep their foot on the pedal throughout this entire early game.
Yeah, talking about foot on the pedal, has been having a pretty good time in this top lane, building a CS lead already, pushing in Nap pretty consistently. And to be honest, I don't imagine any junglers are going to be wandering up there anytime soon, as we do have Dragon on the map. Lee Sin also now on the Krugs, but it looks like it will be a pretty easy take for Rascal Jesters.
Should be the 3-1. The main question for me is going to be when it comes to that 8-minute mark, we see 2 away when the Rift Herald spawns. Who's rotating for it? We've seen in both games so far there have been big rotation plays, but the team that has got there first has been rewarded. Right now, I don't think that you really want to be doing... Oh, hold on.
Oh, hope there from Nemo. It is going to be a bit of damage, but a lot traded back there from Soul and Secret. And now Hybrid stepping forward. Lee Sin is there as well. Sin not going to be able to land the Q. And now Volibear is going to turn this one around, but they have to keep their distance. Still a lot of damage from CGS. Another hook lands, and Hachimetra is going to go low, but he gets the kill. He picks up 1, but it's going to be 2 over to CGA as Sin finds the Caitlyn. And all in all, it looked a bit scrappy, but CJ come away with the slight advantage.
I think they're going to be very pleased with that one. Not only does it disrupt the tempo on the bottom side, it means that now Hybrid gets to push in the wave base and get a comfortable reset off. As we take a look coming back onto the map, that's going to be both junglers heading up to top side. And this was just Kassin lurking. They know for a fact that this bot lane is where plays to be made. Great hook by Nemo. And the Glacial Path actually doing so much work, stopping Sol and Secret being able to just rotate out. Yeah, Kassin gets a surprise bear in the bush, but it doesn't matter too much because Hachimetra, at the end of the day, you're still having to face down 3 people. Nemo trading their life very willingly here. You have the Jinx. It's always worth if you can trade 1 for 1 because you can facilitate those chase down kills. Kaito, though, ahead of schedule. Well played by the entire CGA squad.
Yeah, really well played by them. And obviously, Caitlyn picking up the kill is pretty nice for Rascal Jesters, coming out of it. If it had gone to Volibear, maybe you'd be a little bit more upset about it. But how your ADC actually did get it means they're not going to be losing as much as they would if it was given over to the jungler. But still, really big plays. And as we saw, Jinx picking up the kill. We already talked about how Jinx, if they do get ahead of this Caitlyn, is going to be a huge problem.
And on the subject of getting ahead for the ADCs, we could see the race for the presumed Gale Force. I doubt either bot lane will be going for Kraken Slayer this game because you do not have those protector supports like the Tahm Kench to really give you that, well, get out of jail free card for all intents and purposes. So waiting to see whoever can get that first because it offers you insane kill threat in the 1v1 if the ADCs are ever left alone due to support roams. And it lets you actually survive when your junglers are making plays elsewhere.
No, it does indeed. As Hybrid started to get ever so slightly ahead, obviously this wave will basically be able to catch so up, but you do have to kind of worry a little bit if you're Rascal Jesters because CGA managing to get this Jinx slightly ahead, obviously Hybrid being the notorious carry for them, it's pretty comfortable, at the moment.
And Jinx has always been a historic counter to the Caitlyn because they can match the range so they don't get bullied out like things like the Vayne of past would. And overall in team fights, they'll have way more of an impact. So it's just about a play style, as we do see. CGA are the ones initiating this Herald. They have rotated everybody, bar Hybrid up. I love this. All you have to do is waste time. If you can get this objective to reset, then you are in a winning play right here.
Oh, but Rascal Jesters have accounted with bringing everyone up. And Caitlyn a little bit far away, so Sol won't be there, but there we go. It's going to be an easy take for Rascal Jesters. You said the first team to rotate normally gets rewarded. Rascal Jesters said, we don't like that script. We're going to take it our way. But Hybrid does pick up 2 tower plates in the bot lane. So overall, definitely a nice bit of funneling gold over to them. But that Rift Herald could really change the tempo for Rascal Jesters.
And I'm going to be sitting here on the edge of my seat waiting for Hybrid to base. I need to know if they can afford the Gale Force off of that. Because if they do, then they will actually be ahead of tempo above the Caitlyn, and that is the critical factor. You see right now, because of the XP, they're actually a level up right now. They didn't have their support wombs, so they got all the minions, and Sol was mid-rotation, so they got absolutely nothing. Hybrid is going to back off here. We do have the jungle support duo currently paired up around there, but it looks like Nemo is just going to be sent off on a warding mission. There's not much for you to do when your ADC backs like this, especially as the Nautilus. You're way too susceptible to stand in lane. They're going to vibe out, maybe head to mid, see if they can clear out a control ward or 2.
Yeah, no, I like that we just panned up to the top lane, and it's just been one of the quietest top lanes I feel like I've seen in a long time. It's just been a farm city, and to be fair, I can't really blame it. Neither of them are going to be gaining massive by trying to make huge plays, and obviously there's no reason for the jungler to go up to the top side at the moment. So all in all, it's been pretty bot lane focused, and I feel like if you're CGA, we talked about them kind of getting back into style. I think this is definitely a better look from them so far into this game.
And I'm seeing now we've got both ADC Mythics completed, but it's actually a Kraken Slayer for Hybrid, which is saying that they are completely abandoning the idea of being left alone. They are going to be the focal point for this team, as you could see in the comp, but it means that now CGA need to back that up with members protecting them, because if Hybrid is ever out of position, well, I mean, the cleanse is great. That'll save you from the Renata ultimate and some of the, well, not necessarily point and click CC, but the entire top side CC that Rascal Jester has in tow. But you need to have the peel, and your comp has it not necessarily in spades. You got the ultimate Elise in, and you got the Scatter the Weak from Syndra. It's all a lot of conditional stuff that requires Hybrid to be positioning nigh perfectly if they want to actually make use of this mythic.
Yeah, and it previously looked like CJ were going to contest this. We did see Nap starting to walk down, but then the base back from Kassin feels like they're not going to go for this one, but you never know. They are still lurking. Hybrid ready to pounce on this one with Nemo, as they are going to be dragged together. A bit of damage there from Soul will land, as we might start getting some Dragon contention as Kassin is making their way down to the bot lane. Look there from Nema is going to land. There's the big knock up and problems for Secret, but it's not going to be over just yet. As now Hachimetric finding Kassin. That's a lot of damage in the Gale Force. So we're going to pick up that first kill. Now it could be more Hybrid on the run, just about to get away. Nema, they're going to be taken down as here comes Kaito. Picks up one back, but it's 3 down already. It should be a simple Dragon for Rascal Jesters.
Very confident by Soul right there, going in and getting the return kill. This will give them the massive numbers advantage. Don't think there's much Kaito can really do to dissuade this right here. Recap still has the ultimate. I don't think they're exactly going to be threatening kills, but if they chunk out enough plates and leave it in a position where Soul can finish it off later, that's really all you want from this Herald.
Ever so slightly wide. They should be able to pick up 3 plates here, as we are going to go back to the replay.
Well, that means he's fine, you hope.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No!
Okay, well, we all saw that in the minicam, but back to the actual replay. Not a lot ends up happening from the initial force right here from CGA, and then Hachimecha getting the wombo smackdown onto the Lee Sin. It's nothing but calculate, and watch this from Sol again. It's so good. The flash into max range Q picks up their lane partner as the dragon goes down, but kills returned.
Kassin now going aggressive onto Soul. Hybrid making movements over, but a good jump over the wall gets him to safety, and that's 1 kill. Ari finding the damage. Kassin now trying to make out, but Hybrid going to go down as well. Kassin, the ace in the hole, finds its target, and another big win for Rascal Jesters. This is not what you wanted to see if you're a CGA fan.
All right, Soul's pretty damn good at the Caitlyn, and they're going to be rewarded with this bot lane tower. Everybody's slain around them. As now, Kaito not even able to get plates in the mid lane. This is so impactful. We're talking about how with Caitlyn, you want to win lane, rotate them around the map, and collect towers. They haven't really got to do that. Yeah, okay, we're going to get to see it. We saw it in the side cam. We knew. Don't you worry, as this was not great for Secret. Not part of the calculated plan, I imagine. But to bring it back to, okay, hold on. This play kept going, didn't it? Yeah, this is just elongated. I don't know what happened here. This part I definitely didn't see. Oh. Yeah, okay, this was the start of the initial play. Keep your eye on, I believe it's Hybrid, because Sol is going to bounce themselves over the wall, and they put down a trap in the bush that, as you see, Hybrid doesn't see because of the Volley Bear character model, and that's what pops this whole thing off, turning into a massively RJ-favored play.
It's 400 IQ. That was mad. That was actually insane trap placement there, and, well... Caitlyn, that trap queen. So I can't say anything more, anything less. But Rascal Jester is putting themselves very far ahead, and they're kind of proving those haters that these aren't just fake wins. You know, they're not 9 win streaking for no reason.
No, they are damn good, and while they aren't top dogs, if DFM ever do falter, they will be right behind them, ready to take it away. This is a good statement game, but it's not over yet. At the end of the day, we've talked about how conditional they are with this bot lane of being ahead, and in recent plays, they've managed a snowball, but I wouldn't say that was necessarily just off of the raw laning on its own.
Yeah, no, definitely some really good runs there from Hachimetra and Recappers. We have, well, they have built a 3k gold lead at the moment as Nappen, going to have a bit of a trade. But next dragon does feel pretty impactful. As actually Soul going to go pretty low, but there is the bailout. It's not going to keep them alive, though, as you have to pick up a kill for that one.
That's a big shutdown going over to Kaito, who I would say is the scariest member of CGA, because the Syndra being able to initiate the fights, if they do get a kill, who survives on your bot side for Rascal Jester? Yeah, you could get bailed out, but if you're not in a situation to take advantage of that Renata ability, then you just die. There's absolutely nothing there. Your health bar will not be coming back from that one, as Nemo looking aggressive on the mid lane. It is just the jungle support, as Kassin will be securing this Herald. I expect them to use it on the mid lane to try and crack open the map, but maybe they'll surprise.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, mid lane tower is the number one. You know, of all our towers, it is definitely the MVP. It's worth opening it up because it definitely gives you more control around that jungle as well. And considering that we do know about CJ trying to pick up those early wins, it definitely goes for their cause. And obviously, Lee Sin loves being able to sneak around in those jungles and really like catch people off guard. So maybe they'll be able to open that. But recap, talking about Sneaky goes in on the back line here. There is going to be the ultimate from Renata, but it's not going to be enough damage just yet from Soul as TPs do come through. Nap taking a bit of damage on the front of it. Kaito charmed up, isn't able to dish out enough to pick up recap either, as the rocket to the left. And Soul going to go super low, but not going to go down. A lot of low health bars, but not a lot of kills in this trade.
But with all the chunks going down, they might as well be kills just for the timing on the map. Oh, great Q by Kassin, gonna force that flash out of secret. It won't stop a second recall, but this will definitely kill the mid tower and likely gets a second charge.
You know, gonna have to back away. It is gonna be close to Rage, as we see how Trench are gonna have to use the Storm to get out safely. Not gonna go mega, but not gonna really be able to do much, as you said, the second charge does come through. They're gonna be able to pick up this tier 2 tower as well. And that is quite a bit of gold going back over to them, now taking it to a 1k gold difference.
And they're going to be able to get the resets off because it's a Hextech Rift, so they could use that gate, get back in position, and considering they just saw Hachimetra burn ultimate as well, there's no guaranteed way for the Volibear to get past the Dragon's Rage now. You can always just boot the bear out and you will be able to secure the dragon for yourself. Sin deciding they're not going to base just yet. They have time with the gate. It will be late, but they are going to stick around as the rest of the team will arrive. Rascal Jester not in a position to burst this out. They may actually look to prioritize the mid lane tower, but I feel like that would be a mistake. You want to get to the Soul point, because once you're there, all of the plays from the enemy oh no's.
Oh, there's the insect kick. Secret in big trouble, going to bail themselves out, but not going to really be able to do much with that. Goes down immediately as Eno now taking so much damage. It's just about able to survive. Going to go make it up pretty soon. Could maybe get an impactful ultimate, but CJ definitely having control over this dragon.
Very well played by Kassin. They are having a killer game right now, and throughout the entire split, when CJ have been having good games, it's always been when Kassin is performing. They are kind of the litmus test for this squad, and we are seeing right now that this is CJ in damn good form. They are looking to take Rascal Jester off of that 9-win streak.
Yeah, no better performance to have to prove that CJ are not ready to go back to the bottom of the table, and they are ready to compete, because they are 1 win behind Burning Core. So right now they are sitting in 5th place. But I want to ask you an important question. You know, Dragon, obviously people say it's random. Do you think that Hextech Drake becomes more likely due to the number of Zorn or Arcane champions on your team?
I wondered where on earth you were going with that, but maybe. There is that kind of 9-head logic, because there were all those old interactions with, I know I talked about earlier, but like the Zyra getting extra damage from the Leona because it was the sun and whatnot, as this is just so good by Kassin. Secret being very greedy with that push forward and using the Q to skedaddle out of there. Clean, what you need to be doing though, because when you have these kind of supports that don't have a way to protect themselves, this is the optimal time to be fishing for those kind of plays.
Oh, and this is the kind of play that we want to see from Russell. Just the tower dive coming in. Nema able to get away for now, but a lot of damage is going to go down from the Ari. As you see, hostile takeover is going to push Kassin away, but not close enough to their ally to get up in any sort of friendly fire. And Russell just is taking the tier 1. Is going to be pretty good for them, but they definitely could have maybe got more.
And I'm starting to feel like this Renata Glass plus Caitlyn combo isn't really all that. We haven't seen it get a lot done this game, and it was, mind you, the last 2 picks for Rascal Jester. They saved it for second rotation, saying we're okay to suffer bans because we've got this in the bag. And they didn't get the first Blood Tower immediately, right? They weren't pressuring it before Rift Heralds were chucked down and whatnot. They needed help to get it done. They weren't rotating to other lanes and dominating turrets that way. There's still the top lane tier 1 up. When you have a Caitlyn on your team, that feels like a sin against nature to some degree. And overall, if we take a look at the gold, it's naive, and Dragons, naive. I feel like Rascal Jester may be potentially heading to a position that they aren't going to be very comfortable with, and they're going to have to outperform mechanically if they want to take this game.
Ooh, talking about uncomfortable though, Nap is not in a nice scenario. Gonna have to use the World Ender, will flash as well. The Ace and Hole not gonna do enough damage. To be fair, I would have been super shocked if he died there. But forcing them away, they are gonna be able to get some pressure onto that tier 2 top as well. As recap, using the Hex Gate, it's gonna go straight past Casino.
Yeah,
and now
I'm leaving.
TPing out of this one. He's gonna be able to get away, but a little bit of a strange play there.
It's not often that you get to see Hexgate interactions like that, but what they've changed recently was now you can see where you are as you're flying through the Hexgate, so they just see Kassin like crawling underground. There's no way for the Lee Sin to interact, but knowing that they've just jumped into no man's land, that was why they had the instant TP out. Has a shutdown on their head. I'm gonna say is a waste of the TP, not because obviously it was the right decision if they wanted to not die, otherwise they were going to have to, well, look for a super outplay. But bit greedy from Rascal Jester. We're starting to see the team potentially falter a little bit, not having that kind of organized series of play that we really like from this squad. With the tier 1s now all down, winning with Caitlyn becomes a matter of managing objectives, getting there first, setting up those traps, and making it impossible to approach. But we saw the last time the dragon spawned, Secret ended up getting booted out of this game by Kassin. We really do need to see a lot more of a concerted effort from the whole Rascal Jester squad to set up vision and avoid that happening again.
Yeah, I do agree. And I think this next dragon is going to be quite a big tell, or at least the next team fight might be around this Baron, to be fair, as people are starting to mobilize. But around the next dragon is where I imagine it will be. I think it's a big tell as to where the sides are, because we've talked about how CGA do have that late game potential with the Jinx, with the Syndra, and how we need to keep that Caitlyn ahead. And obviously, if they aren't able to win this next team fight, maybe it starts to become all CGA. But right now, everyone just kind of hovering around this topside river.
So actually investing the traps into here, so it is making it look like a full-on Baron setup. They've got the Scuttle Crab now, so you will see if CGA decide to flip objectives. I feel like that was the main purpose. They just wanted to get the crab. They have massive vision down on that side of the map. So if the events of this play go poorly for them, they can just pivot and go Baron. Looks like they will be able to secure the dragon, or at very least secure the vision around the dragon. They've got the setup, I know, is nearly at Mega. Everything is coming up Rascal Jester. If this doesn't go well, then I feel like the game is going to slip out of their hands.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. As Nap looking for maybe a bit of CC onto Eno, but not going to be able to land it just yet. And the teams are starting to posture. This is the classic 5 versus 5. Bit of almost J-Ram action, but they're not going to leave that for too long, as they are now starting to move towards this dragon.
Have to go quick, though. Ino is about to go back to Mininar. Slightly off on that window, actually. Lee Sin Q is down. They can jump in the pit. Keep your eye on the smite.
Not landing it just yet, and it's going to be a pretty easy take for Rascal Jester, but there's the flash hook, not going to land though, and gets dragged back. Could be a dangerous time for Nemo, going to be taken out immediately. Scout the Week does land onto Eno, and Hatchmecha going to have to jump over the wall. Same with the Gnar, but they get away safely, no loss from the side of Rascal Jesters and picking up the third Drake.
That was a play by Nemo, a maneuver, one might say. Not an optimal maneuver, mind you, but that is still going to be Rascal Jester keeping themselves not only in the game, but also keeping confidence on their favor. Because if that had gone poorly, if Nemo had managed to hit a hook onto somebody significant, then we could see a very different series of play. Hybrid farming up a Storm. They are heading towards what I assume to be the Infinity Edge, coming up very soon. Once they have that, plus the 2 items down for Kaito, these fights look very, very different. Because the Volibear, they're tanky. Yeah, they got the Force of Nature. They're good. I know, though, no MR in sight. This is going to be a lot of damage coming out from Kaito. If they ever catch out a mini Gnar, then there is the potential for really only Hatchemecha to be safe.
Yeah, indeed. And I will say, I'm a little bit surprised. I feel like CJ kind of played really hesitant. Like, I'm shocked that they didn't just kind of
hook hesitant.
Oh, it was though. But like pre-dragon, they weren't really going in for the play.
I agree.
They were kind of just watching them take the dragon, and then they were like, okay, dragon's gone. Now let's go all in. I feel like maybe they missed their window a little bit, you know. But we'll see if they maybe take this one again. Traps have gone down. They are setting up. Nemo going to go over with the Hex Flash, but they are going to walk away. RJ, as Hatchemecha now in a pretty rough situation. Probably going to have to flash out of here. Doesn't have ult just yet, but there we go. Going to get it back up and is able to just leap over the wall.
I think I'm going to change phrasing on that and say it was a desperation hook, is how it felt. which isn't really the perspective you want to be going against. I mean, Hextech Soul, as far as it goes, I think it's widely considered now to be the best Soul over what was Mountain for the longest time, where it just provides so much utility, the slows. And something I do want to mention is that we have got Recap actually going for that Everfrost Horizon focus build. So combining that with the potential slows that you could get from Hextech just means that if they choose for a target to die, that person will almost definitely be getting CC'd, and provided it's not hybrid with the cleanse, that probably means they die with the rest of the DPS that Rascal Jester can put down onto a single target. But that's the issue. It's all single target for the majority of what RJ has.
But I will say, I feel like the Soul is so good as well because it gives you that attack speed, it gives you that ability haste as well. It just does a lot, you know. It feels like they've kind of said, what do we want this next dragon to do? Let's do a bit of everything, you know. And obviously with Caitlyn, with the Nardos auto attackers, it is going to be pretty nice to get that attack speed.
You have now CGA contesting for vision around this pit, but Kassin, that was aggressive.
Gonna get stunned up here, able to flash away. It's so in a really rough situation. Gonna be able to get out of that one with the flash, as you know, now in trouble, but able to walk away. Nap did go aggressive with the World Ender, not able to find a target just yet, as now it's on to Hachimechu, who is gonna go golden, but I don't know if he's gonna come out of this in first place. He gets stunned up, and there's Lee Sin going into the backline looking for the, but the damage is too high from Soul, and they do turn that into a 1-0 so far on the trade, and it looks rough for Rascal Jesters, but they do come out on top.
I'm gonna ask again, why? That was such a fine play from CGA overall up until the last minute. Soul going forward, very aggressive, showing the power of that Gale Force.
But they're going pretty low now. They're blocking, so we'll be able to keep them alive, but chunked out to half as well. It's potentially a play where Rascal can just turn this into a Baron. They've already taken down the Lee Sin. They've got low health bars on the support on mid. They definitely have control over the map.
They've got vision now onto the top side. This is just a run back of 5 minutes ago where they were posturing around the Baron. They put all of their vision down there and said, "Aye, there is no way you are flipping this objective on us. If you seem to go over there, we are turning it." And I don't know what Kassim was doing here. They jump over aggressively, I think hoping that it's just Secret seeing over the wall. Yeah, very nicely done by Nap and Hybrid to chunk Soul out here, but they're going to go off to No Man's Land and heal off of those Raptors. And just keep your eye on Kassin again. Amazing stuff by Nemo on this part of the engage, but I don't know why they decide to go further. It was okay. They got posture around the Baron, and then they just take this, my mind's telling me no hook, Q even, into the backline and just dies. So CGA getting almost all the way to perfection and then faltering at the last second. I feel like I'm saying the same thing I did as last game for Burning Core. Yeah,
the Leaf Syndrome, a little bit too strong there. You know, you don't have to take all the Qs that you land, but sometimes it is hard to avoid. As right now, CGA setting up in a death rush. They are setting themselves ready for this Drake, and they have got position for it, so it is going to be a little bit more difficult for Rascal Jesters to get into this one. But there's the hook there onto Recap, but a good Zhonya's is going to keep them alive, as now they're going to be stepping forward. Nemo going to be the target first, going to go pretty low and already taken down now onto the backline. Hybrid able to cut this one out, but Kaito going to be the next down. Nab trying to survive with the World Ender, but there's the Nar throwing him back into the team. That's going to be the third kill. It's Ari on the backline, almost finding the damage. There is a little bit more big plays from Recap. Finds the last two. That's the Ace, that's the Dragon, that's the Soul, and Rascal Jesters claiming control over this game.
Don't need a recap of that one because it was domination by Rascal Jester. They're going to walk their way over to this Baron, pushing the side lane as well. Complete dominance. And this is what we wanted from the squad. They have looked so good in their past games, and let's see how they do it again. Recap, actually the one getting caught out at the beginning of this play. But keep your eyes on the rest of the Rascal Jester squad, because Nemo gets abandoned by his team here. They get turned around by the Renata ultimate, and while it doesn't end up doing anything with hurting their team, it's a 4 versus 5 advantage, and Hachimecha survives on a sliver of HP, giving Recap all they needed to reset spaghetti through the enemy team.
Yeah, and resets is the name of the game, and it was just a very, very clean fight from Rascal Jesters. You know, I will say the Renata ult has felt really underwhelming in terms of what the Renata ult is supposed to do, but it does feel like a nice CC. You know, like people don't attack you at least while they're in it, but it definitely feels like it's not necessarily hitting the mark that I think Riot kind of pitched it for.
The way that I was trying to look at it is that I was thinking, wow, okay, so here's the 5-head. You're against a Nautilus, so provided Nautilus has their Glacial Augment procced, surely that means if they get Renata ulted, they're going to auto-attack an ally, CC them, Glacial their own team. That's so 5-head, it's brilliant. I don't know if that's strictly how it works, but they'll definitely do the CC part of it. Oddly enough, I've been tracking it every fight. We've not seen Nemo get an auto off in a Renata ult just yet. At the end of the day, it feels like some kind of glorified shockwave at this point.
Yeah, and to be fair, I like CJ abandoning them. Maybe that was because of that play. Like they didn't want to get locked down, which is completely fair. But yeah, Renata, it's not really been able to do what I feel like everyone feared. You know, I remember when Renata was first announced, everyone was just like, "Oh my days, a Riot, please!" But it's definitely a little bit more underwhelming than I think we've seen. But it wasn't necessarily in that fight for them to take it, and some really nice play there from Rascal Jester. And we talked about their team fight, you know, being very strong, and they've kept themselves ahead, so they're keeping to the win con. But is there a way back
for
this side of CGA?
Bounties are enabled, right? And while we do have Rascal Jester in a dominant spot with both the Hextech Soul in pocket and the Baron buff, the thing is, they are now on the temporary clock. It's not a permanent one, but they have to try and break open base, and they have to get a lot done with these double objectives, because if they don't, then there's always the worry of an Elder flip, right? And when you have Elise in on the enemy team, and your Volibear, while pretty good at secure objectives, isn't the most consistent in the world, it's something that you really do need to be careful of. So you see that Baron buff timer in the top right of your screen. Keep your eyes on that, because as soon as that hits 0, Rascal Jester are in not a woeful position, but they're in the position where CJ can look to catch the throw.
Yeah, and as taught by my parents from a very young age, you got to respect your elders. You know, you got to respect that buff. It comes through very strong. And League of Legends knew. You know, they knew about that. They were like, Elder Dragon has to come through to the game. And it's definitely a win con. Obviously, if you've ever played League of Legends and you've got to 35 minutes probably in most people's games, you've seen what the buff does. And CJ, we talked about how their late game prowess does come through. Obviously, a Jinx with Elder buff is just kind of the thing of nightmares. But I think it all starts with that Baron, as you said. If they can maybe dissuade Rascal Jester from taking it early, or if they can potentially steal it themselves, they can definitely bring themselves back into the game. But I don't know why I'm saying that. Like, they haven't already taken the Baron.
Oh, yeah, well, that's fine, because the Baron is still 2 minutes left. You know, it's fine. Don't worry, because this is just going to be the Rascal Jester show. They should be able to cleanly open up this part of the base. The question is, will they be able to walk forward far enough to get the inhib? Because you are in a 5 versus 4. You see Ino on the side right there. Has the Mega not about to... Jesus, Hybrid just got half-barred by an auto.
That's a lot of damage, you know. We've seen emotional damages. I mean, recently that is just physical damage. No joke about that one. As right now they're just going to go for this inhib. It seems pretty easy. The range that they have on their team is really holding back CGA, and Hybrid having to go onto that mid side to defend just wasn't there to help out the team. And they're just going to rotate one tower at a time. Now onto the mid lane, going to just do the exact same rinse and repeat. And it does feel like CGA kind of need to either pull the trigger or they are going to lose a second inhib.
Right now, they got the setup over the wall. Recap has the ultimate, the Everfrost, and the Zhonya's available. So if they see an angle, I feel like that's going to be the main facilitator for Rascal Jester. They're actually being very conservative here. They're waiting for the minion wave. Actually, no, it's the CGA back off. That's what they were looking for. As soon as they weren't standing there using their bodies to protect that inhib, nope, it is gone. It will be the reset. And it looks like going to be coming back and sieging up that bot lane to try and get the 3-peat.
Yeah, we haven't talked about money recently. Obviously, everyone knows the song, or most people know the song, More Money, More Problems. Not the same in League of Legends, you know. More money, definitely a better time. And 10k ahead for Rascal Jesters, even though it's late in the game, still very significant.
Yeah, as far as it goes, keeping time in this game is going to be important, and that's why the stopwatches are one of the main benefits of that more money. You have 3 of them now for Rascal Jester. Again, I feel like I'm trying to think of a quirky way to say it, but you got the top, mid, and the support. The 3 prongs of the map, I don't know, there's something there. I can't think of anything clever, as it will just be posturing for the Elder. They got a pretty decent Baron power play, but all they realistically need to do for RJ is just let the super minions do their work on the top side, siege up the bottom lane. You have a Caitlyn, you have the Renata who can, while not necessarily get a lot done with the ultimate, you can zone a treat because it's so slow, kind of like Maokai ultimate, where you could just have to avoid it, right? You see it coming, you have time to get out of the way, but it means that you can buy so much space to secure a tower for free.
Yeah, Maokai, has really dipped from League of Legends, but maybe we'll see one coming back. But yeah, slow ultimate. It's not the best for catching up people quickly, but obviously, as we said, the setup from Nart is there, as she said, is on the flank, but running the wrong way. Where are you going, Nap?
So generously put, so generously put. But they, as soon as the TP is noticed by Rascal Jester, they all turn. This is exactly what you should do. They just force the Aatrox to back off, because if you stick around there and you do get found out, you are dead. They have the Ari. They can chase you down. You will not escape. And it means that then the CGA rest of the team will be standing there in a 4v5 defending base. So right decision, just a good fishing out of the play by RJ. I know, got the Mega coming up, got the Flash. I feel like we're expecting Wombo combo soon.
Well, they need to sort out the base before any Wombo combos can even be thought about, as the super minions dropping one of the Nexus towers to half HP. This should open up a little bit of time for our suggestors to push in this bot lane tower and maybe get close to claiming that third and final inhib.
Oh, every auto from this Caitlyn does so much to the turret. That was just one, as now the force goes in.
We're going to see the depth charge already onto Soul. They were able to back away. As here goes Kassin looking to go aggressive. Hatchet still staying alive. The Jinx are going to be able to find that. Gets excited. Kassin still in the fight. They're going to look for the second on Secret. But as you said, the base is being taken down. Recap and Eno just trying to finish this one off. A couple more autos might do it, but they're not going to be able to do it. A big stop there from the Syndra. But on the flip side, Soul and Secret still alive. 2v2. Can they get this one through?
It's going to be a members advantage for CGA, but they need time to go back to base and heal. Soul should be able to finish off this turret here. All the abilities down from Kaito. Oh, it's on a sliver. Q goes wide, but the Hex Gate, Secret is in. Well, actually, they pivot over to Soul. Will they be able to outplay this?
Oh, good dodge there. And another one going through, but it's not going to be enough. Nap slams down the sword and picks up the Caitlyn. And Elder is on the map. Is this CGA's moment to steal the game?
No. Yes. It's not. I have to stop there because there's 2 TPs for Rascal Jester. So you cannot commit members to going to this dragon right now. And it's unfortunate because that was the one window you're going to get. Now, it is still only 2 waves of supers, but let's take a look at how that fight actually kicked off, because it was just Ino and Recap playing a completely different game to the rest of the squad. They're just trying to control damage, keep in hybrid at arm's length on the bottom lane, but keep your eye over there. Nappa's doing whatever they can, and Aatrox is not built for this, as instantly chucked away. We're into the Elder fight. If Rascal Jester can pull CGA out here, they can TP back into the base.
They could indeed. And we do see Syndra still lurking around. It is a 4 versus 5 right now. No, sorry, 4 versus 4. Assault isn't there just yet. And Dragon is going pretty low. 5,000 halfway down. They might go for the smite. 5,200 on the Dragon. It's going to go pretty low. But there is the ultimate from Renata. Also take over, turning this one around. But it's still pretty low. It's going to be taken by Hachimecha. They do claim this. Rascal Jesters will claim the fight as well. Absolutely slaying out the side of CJ as Kaito stepping forward here, but is going to have to go golden, is immediately going to be removed from the game, and that is a bit of a shame. It's going to be the end of this one as they run to take this Nexus.
I won't say it came down to a smite fight, but damn, CGA made it look close at the very end there. If it goes in their favor, who knows what happens, but it doesn't matter. That's all theoretical. Rascal Jester taking himself up to a 10-win streak. Absolute insanity. They're chasing after